Okay, welcome to this edition of the Master Implementer interview series. And today, right, we have someone who I'm looking forward to interview for a long time, right? His name is Ulysses Wang, and he's an NLP coach, right? He does a lot of good things, and he taught a lot of coaches, right? He actually mentors and teaches some of the top mentors, some of the top coaches around the world, man. So Ulysses, welcome to the interview series, right? I'm so happy to have you on board.
Hey everyone! So I'm so happy that Mark has gotten me to do this, and also that I am able to do some very strategic stuff with Mark. You know, we have been talking about this for some time, and obviously I think his schedule is crazy, my schedule is crazy, and we finally got the time during this period of time, which is the best time ever, by the way, to really sit down and to really plan this thing out and to go through the next 30 minutes or so with some actionable stuff for everybody who's watching this right now. Thank you so much, Mark, for having me.
Hey, my pleasure, man. So I'm really, really excited. So Ulysses, just to start off, could you just share a bit about your journey and how you got started? And I guess a bit about the experience right now, like recently what I've been doing in terms of the NLP and coaching space, man. Can you just start off with that?
Right. I don't want to bore everyone who is watching this. First thing I want to let everyone know in advance before I start blabbering over the next 2 minutes is that I got like some of the most boring life story ever. So nothing exciting, nothing nerve-wrenching. So I only did like 3 things ever, right? Professionally in the career terms, only 3 things in my life. I worked for a company. First of all, I worked for a company for about 7 to 8 years. So I was in telesales. So that was like the dream job that no mother would ever want their son or their daughter to be in, right? Like I finished school, and the first job that I jumped into was to sell stuff over the telephone, right? So most of my peers, they went into like different sectors. Like, you know, they went to oil and gas, they went to petrochemicals, they went to financial industry. I went to sell trainings and live seminars and events over the telephone. So that was what I do. And without knowing that what I was doing, I went on for doing that job for like coming to 7 to 8 years. And nothing much. It's pretty much the same as, you know, we wake up, we go to work, and for me, I pick up the recording for 8 hours. So that was the first boring part of the entire journey. And I went on to start off my company, obviously doing something that is pretty much similar to what I was doing in a full-time employment. And then I went into, before I talk about the third thing, the reason why I stopped the second thing to really was doing in my first full-time business was that because of the 2015 oil price crisis. So anybody who was in the oil industry knows that that was probably the most disastrous thing that ever happened in 2015, except for the one that is more recent. The one more recent, I think, is
all-time low for a long time.
All-time low, right? Yeah. So during that time, I was having a lot of clients in the oil and gas industry. So overnight, like when the oil price went down, my business went down at the same time. And I took the leap of faith to do what I was doing, what I'm doing right now. And that's it. So there's only 3 things I have throughout the 10 over years of my working profession, and yeah, pretty much a boring one. So that's it.
Hey, no worries, man. So I think you're a bit humble, honestly, in terms of people. But because I guess I can start off this first question, right? So because at least for my audience, right, a lot of them are trying to start out in the whole entrepreneurial space, right. And some of them might be nervous, and also they're working a full-time job, right? So at least for you, right, Lucy, so what made you want to move out of that 9 years, that 7 years in the telemarketing space to move out? Was it instant decision, or do you take any specific steps to make sure that even when you jumped on in, right, in terms of your income, you could still feed yourself, pay your bills? Was there any specific things that you did to help you get started into your own entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that transition went extremely smooth. I would say extremely smooth. And let's talk about like how did that happen? There's always the push and the pull factor, right? The push factor is always that, whenever that some idea has been hatched in our mind, it can be like transiting from a career to a business. It can be buying something that you always wanted. It can be that McNuggets that we have been craving for, from McDonald's for the past 2 weeks. It can be anything. So the moment when an idea is being hatched in our mind, so there's always 2 forces like happening. So going back to that time, the two forces were very specific. One was that it was a pushing factor, like, you know, suddenly everything seems to be like not as pretty as before, right? So everything starts to get a little bit upsetting. So things starts to get a little bit annoying, and everything starts to get less and less tolerable. So there's a push factor. So again, it comes back to the idea when something that's being hatched in our mind, we will start to observe things that to give a reason that why we didn't want to have that thing right now, right? And the other one is obviously the pull factor. You know, obviously during that time, I never had a chance to step into being an entrepreneur. So the dream that time, and many people probably right now will be even thinking about the same thing, like, oh, I can have the freedom, you know, right? I can live my dreams. I can decide my own time. I can decide what time I wake up, what time I sleep. Well, I don't want to dash any inspiration or the beautiful dreams, right? But obviously, it's not as pretty as what it seems to be. But there was a pull factor. So there's always that push thing and the pull thing. And so that happened during that time. The transition was smooth. I planned certain things out. I make sure that I have, you know, all the usual business 101, 101 only, you know, the 201 and 301, I didn't have any knowledge about it. So only the 101, which means that you need to have like, you know, 6 to 8 or 12 months of like savings. You need to know what to do. You need to have a business plan. So yeah, so that was pretty much that particular phase. But obviously that was like, let me think about it. That was like 2012. That was like easily eight and
8 years ago. Yeah.
Ago. So many things have changed right now. So the speed of transiting can be a lot more faster right now. Market research can be done a lot more easier right now, and things can happen a lot more faster right now. So like in 2012, when we need to do market research, we need to like buy manual, like you know, industry books, right? I don't know if anyone that is on this watching this show right now, if you are as old as me, you probably will know what are those things. But right now, today, research is just like a couple of clicks away from our laptop and our computer. So things happens, you know, pretty fast right now. So, but the basic principles remains the same. Be prudent and plan ahead in advance, and all those kind of usual stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that is great, man. So I think those are some quick tips, right? So obviously, like most of us in the space, we do know about it, but I think they'll be very useful, man, for some people who are already starting on their new, right? Always reminding them to always have some form of emergency funds going on, right, before they got started, right? So so moving on, right, Ulysses, when like, could you share a bit about like currently what do you do actually, like what like the coaching, the speaking right now, and at the same time, right, maybe look a bit about what do you think are some of the most common mistakes your coaches, your students tend to do when they start out in their whole entrepreneurial or coaching journey? Could you share a bit about that?
Right. I think the very same things that happens to all of us, including myself, and I need to like slap myself, you know, 2 times every other day to remind myself of this one very simple thing that always like holds us to the ground, right? I believe that because like, you know, Mark, yeah, you are all about implementation, right? Taking specific information and put them into specific action so that we can get specific results, right? That's what your whole message is all about. That's what you are trying to help your audience. And I believe when it comes to at the end of the day, when that really takes place, is really about like being self-aware. And what do I mean by that is that like when I first started on doing this thing, right, like doing training seminars, you know, I thought that everybody's having great fun. So those of you who are doing it right now, you know that speaking 8 hours a day for 3 hours consecutively, that is tiring. But those of you who are sitting as a participant and watching, you probably would think that that is a job that like everybody wants to do, right? You want to go up there and speak. So that was what I was thinking, like, you know, it's fun, right? It's good, I to speak. And then how tiring can that be, right? And the moment I realized when that wasn't really the thing that I'm really good at, to be honest, I'm still not good at it right now. That entire self-awareness thing clicked. And what do I mean by that? So now let me just dive it a little bit further so that it can be as technical as possible for everyone who's watching this right now. Like, I mean, we've seen a lot of like personality assessment tools around, right? Like DISC, this, MBTI, Enneagram, and many others. So by the way, anyone who wants to do this, you can go to Tony Robbins' website. He has this assessment is completely free. All right. So anyone who wants to do this and you don't want to pay like a couple of $100 for any other tools, go to Tony Robbins' website. So that is the first thing. I mean, to be self-aware in terms of like what is our personality trait. Now, before we really dive real deep into this, I want to just make a quick pause and remind everyone who is going to be doing this is that you are going to have some form of assessment results back after you do this. All right. So some of the assessment tools, they will call you, you are the fire, you are the water, you are the earth, or you know what, you are the leader, or you are the worker, all these things, right? So just please, all right. I am like literally like begging everyone who is watching right now that don't take those and like I know I just now have a post-it notes over here. Don't take that result and just stick it on yourself, right? So if that result comes back and says that, oh, you are having the water element and you're supposed, or you are more suited to do this, and you take that and label it on yourself. No, please don't do that. The assessment results are going to be real good in terms of like raising your self-awareness, but don't let that label you. So back to the thing about like self-awareness, like what am I really driving at is the moment when I realized that being out there, talking to people face to face, interacting with people is not me. Seriously, not me. I know like I do live training, right? And our NLP certification, we run like whole week, like 12 hours every single day. And people will be thinking that how do you manage to do that? Now that's something for later. But when you are able to really know like in what kind of environment, in what kind of unique circumstances that you are able to excel in, now the whole game changes that easily. All right. So it's not a coincidence when I look back over the past 10 over years, like while I was in tele sales. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Mark, that I don't really like to talk to people, to be honest. I don't like to talk to people on a like sit down and literally talk to people face to face. I mean, it scares the shit out of me because I don't know what to talk about. I don't know how to engage people in a conversation. I don't know how to like just be there. It's like I can't wait to get out of a face-to-face meeting all the time. But I know that if the other person is just listening and I just talk, and I will be able to excel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that part was like a very big breakthrough moment for me when I realized that there are certain circumstances and environment that I know I will be able to excel working 18 hours a day without feeling tired. And that is the environment I will continuously to put myself into. Yep. It's like I can look at a laptop, for example, for 18 hours for like the next 7 days. It's just like for the past 2 months, I'm sorry for those of you who felt that it's such a horrendous experience staying at home, right? I mean, for me, I've been enjoying every moment. Seriously, like it gives me the perfect and most legitimate reason not to attend meetings.
Yeah.
It gives me a perfect excuse not to step out and interact with people. And I was so productive over the past like 6.5, 7 weeks so far already. I mean, yeah. So being self-aware, I think that's like the biggest game changer. And you asked about like what is the thing that is stopping a lot of people? I think everything works. That's the thing. Everything works. So if you attend a productivity training, that trainer may teach you certain tools and techniques and frameworks. You know what? It works. If you go to a personal development training, the personal development trainer might teach you slightly different sets of tools, processes, and framework. And you know what? It works. Yeah. But the question is, which is going to work for you? Does that make sense? All right. So I think when we embark on this knowledge gaining momentum, right, like gaining a lot of things for ourselves, if we are able to be like be extremely conscious about the self-awareness aspect. Like this thing, it doesn't work for me. This thing is what I really need. And this thing I know is not going to be what most ideally I will excel in, but I need it. So that's why I need to put extra effort on it. So we are able to really get all these things, like these tools, and utilize them in the most strategic way for our advancement.
Yeah.
So I like to remind myself all day and every day is that if I don't like to attend meetings, I operate in a very small team. I don't have like 900 employees like Gary V, right? But yeah. I have like 3 employees right now that's working with me to make with me 4 person. When I have someone who really needs to meet for some face-to-face discussion, I know I have one lady with me. She thrives, right? She excels in that kind of environment. She would do that, right? She would do that. And I know that, being a business owner, there's certain things that I need to do, but I'm not good at it. But that is when I need to find somebody to actually patch it in real quick. But does that mean that I can't do it? No, that doesn't mean. It's just that I need to constantly remind myself that I need to put in more effort. It's just like, like we bring power bank out, right?
Yeah.
Like, because our battery runs flat on our mobile phone and we need to plug it in so that it can continuously be used. Outside throughout the day. It's the same thing. When I go to do live training 12 hours, consecutively for 4 or 5 days, I need to have a power bank in me, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I need to drink all those kind of crazy juices
during
the day, right? To keep my metabolism rate high, to get myself with the energy. But after that is like horizontal, right? Horizontal, right? So I need to be very self-aware of that so that, we are able to be prepared for ourselves. So that is all about implementation, Mark. I hope that gives some perspective.
Yeah, I love it, man. So I think firstly what you said, I think that's very true, right? Which is that yes, you can take all this personality tests and everything, but don't let that label yourself, right? But instead you use the information learned and then you try to put yourself in positions where you can excel further, right? Which is what you have definitely done, right? And then moving on, which is I think what you say about all these courses, all these programs, all this work, right? But it's how best can you work it and how strategic can you be doing it, right? And then thirdly, what I talk about is really, what I feel is that is you focus on what you can do best, right? And then trying to delegate or outsource the things that you might not be the most efficient or effective at. So thanks for those tips, man. I think that's really good.
I think that's going to be like the number one game changer for a lot of people, where especially there's a lot of information out there, which are good, by the way. It's like, I wish that is the case like 15 years ago, and I don't have to read buy manual books to go through. It's a lot of good information, free information out there. The people who are giving information, it's their job to make their information sexy. It's their job to make that information appealing. That's their job. But from a receiver's perspective, we got to take everything from a our own perspective, right? Like to say, like just take for example, like if you're gonna ask on the internet today, Mark, just go to Facebook and ask, what is the number one way to increase revenue in your business?
Yeah.
From your circle, there's someone is going to say, oh, you need to actually craft a very unique offer. You need to actually sell live seminar. You need to go virtual. You need to do videos. You need to do. It's like 2,500 things, right?
Yeah.
But the question is that there's no doubt that we can't do like 2,500 things. That's for sure. But if there's going to be only one thing that you can do, I think the biggest question we got to constantly ask ourselves is that which one will we be doing with the least amount of effort and yet gaining the most ROI for ourselves. I don't trade. I don't do investing. But if I am going to tell me if I'm going to be a good student, if I ever going to take out an investing course, Mark. If I'm going to invest $1, I only have $1, right?
Yeah.
I will look for the one that gives me like the highest return possible all the time, like between $1.10 and $1.25. Okay, let's go for the $1.25. Is that the logic that the fundamental logic of investing?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is, there's going to be like, I think, like you said, there are like in US itself, there's 7,000 stocks out there, right? So the thing is, the probability of some of them going up, some of them going down, everything, right? Yes, it go up, but ultimately is at least from what I do, right? We definitely want to try to find the stock, the business that relates most to our interest, right? So for example, someone wants to invest in the dividend company, someone wants to invest in a growth company, everything. So we actually have to find out what suits us best at the point of time, and then we invest in it. So I love what
Right.
you said. Yeah.
Right. I think I can see a very clear
Mm.
like correlation even when we are talking about like if like let's talk about energy, right? Like the amount of energy that we have, like obviously you have much more energy than I am, Mark, because obviously let's talk about age. Yeah, you have a huge advantage. Is that like time is a finite thing for all of us, right?
Yeah.
Every human beings on this planet. So if we are going to use energy and put it side by side as the way we are going to treat our money, right? Because we spend every dollar very carefully, right? Like, okay, if I only have $1, should I buy this or should I buy that, right? So that's the question, right? If we are able to treat our energy and our attention span the same way as we treat money, that is a huge thing for anyone. Like if I only have like 1 minute to spare today, should I be talking to John or should I be talking to Mary, for example? You know what I'm saying? If I can only make one phone call today, should I be calling company A or should I be calling company B? So if I only got one thing that I can do today, should I be tweaking my copy on my landing page or should I be looking into my offer? You know, that kind of thing. So when we compress all those onto a day by day sequence, and some time back, I took like a coaching program with this gentleman by the name of Akbar Sheikh. Right, those people who are in the ClickFunnels community will be very familiar with him, Akbar. So one of the very first thing that he really drilled into us is that it's so simple. It's like it's so simple until that you probably feel from an outsider's perspective, of course, that you may feel that you get cheated if you pay $3,000 to do this program with him. It's like what? But one of the most fundamental and one of my like game changing thing he said was that we only need to do 3 things a day.
3 things
to grow our business. 3 things a day. That's it. All right. So every morning when we wake up, decide on these 3 things, and don't do 30 things. Just do 3 things. And I want to like challenge everybody who is like watching this right now to think about like which are the 3 things out of like 30 things that you have on your plate that you can do right now. And do the same thing for tomorrow, do the same thing for tomorrow, and do the same thing for tomorrow. I think that's like beautiful. This beautiful way of it's not only in business. I thank Akbar for teaching me that, and I think it changed my life with that simple statement: 3 things a day.
Yeah, I love it, man. So like Ulysses, I think what you said about focusing on as in approaching you using your willpower, your energy, right, your time as if you're spending money, right, as if you're budgeting. So I love it, right. So if I go a bit deeper, right, Ulysses. So I think right now during this as in of this interview, right, during this whole COVID situation, right, a lot of people they are getting bombarded with like previews for webinars, right, information, workshops, articles, right. So at least for yourself, right, how would you like or how would you do it even yourself, like how will you actually try to manage that whole overwhelm of information right now to actually distill down to only the most important ones they know? Like, are there any specific habits? Do you do any habits or anything that you would like to advise some of the people out there? Right? Because right now they're trying to start up, but right now they're getting like bombarded with so much stuff going on. So how do you actually like advise them? Like any specific things they can do to actually make sure that they can actually take in only what's the most important for them?
Right. I think if I'm gonna put it into perspective, like a lot of this information overload usually comes from like Facebook, right? Because
yes, Facebook.
that's where everybody are congregating, right? And I think it's to be perfectly honest, everyone, Mark as well, it's extremely unfair for me to put my perspective on this. The reason is because it's extremely easy for me to do. And let me tell you, and everybody, why is it so easy for me to filter out all this information? Is because how I started my relationship with like Facebook. I'm a Facebook dinosaur. Like 2017 July, it's not too long ago, and I'm not very young, by the way. All right, I started my Facebook So I started my Facebook in July 2017. It's like,
very recent.
like everyone was asking like, where were you, Ulysses, all this while? I said, yeah, still on this planet. The reason why I haven't stepped into Facebook was firstly because there wasn't a need for me to. That's a real thing, and I never fancy like interacting with people, as like, you know what I mentioned to you just now. So that trait in me carries in even onto the online ways. Like I just don't know what to talk to like people, right? Like, okay, should I be sharing my lunch today or my walk in the park? Like what am I supposed to tell people, right? Like, I feel so awkward. But I jump in for only one reason, is because my consumers are there, my customers are there, my market is there. If I want to do advertising, I have to be there. So for all these reasons, so that is the reason why I say it's very unfair for me. Because my relationship, for example, with Facebook, is that it is purely for me to interact with my audience, interact with my potential customers, and to serve my people. That's the thing. So information overload is
more of a strategic reason.
However, if anyone who is like daily onto Facebook, there's a real quick story. I mean, a really interesting one that I wanted to share with everyone is that I remember when I have a 6-year-old little boy. So those of you who are parents, you probably can relate. I remember during the very first initial few weeks, right? Like, I think all mommies, you probably can actually relate to. What's the first biggest decision? Not even the first few weeks, the first week itself after you discharge from the hospital, right? What's the first biggest decision that you need to make? It's not a diaper, it's not the baby cot, because all this would have been settled before you even like gave birth, right? It's like, what is the milk to feed, right? So by default, right, most people will go for like breast milk, right? Because that is like the best milk, right? I mean, nutrients and all this kind of thing. I mean, it's the same thing that happens 6 years ago when my little boy came to this world. So I remember my spouse was very adamant about like doing this thing as well. I mean, obviously, all mommy wants the best for the kids, right? But anyone who has done this, any mommies, all right, would also know that that is like the most horrible, most tiring experience ever, because you need to do that like every other few hours, right, to wake up and you know, to continue the manufacturing process of the milk, right? So that's a very tiring process. So just a couple of weeks in, and my spouse told me that she's too tired and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And I said, yeah, it's fine, we can go for like formula milk, right? And then I went to buy the formula milk from a convenience store. I came back, you know, we did like toddlers during that time, infants during that time, they need to drink like every couple of hours, and if they don't drink, and they just go haywire, right? So I bought the first brand bag, and we put in the milk bottle. We do the usual thing, and guess what? My little boy didn't want to drink that particular one. So we can freak out, right? And there's like no more natural milk. There's only formula milk. So I rushed back to the convenience store, bought another brand, and you know, did the same thing. And guess what? Again, no, he didn't want to drink. So that happened for like 3 to 4 brands, and milk powders aren't exactly the cheapest thing in the convenience store, right? And so we spent like almost $200 trying out different kind of brands, and he didn't want to drink any of it. So we got panicked, and we started to call a friend, and a friend said the most amazing thing that changed my life. The most amazing thing that it totally changed my life, not in terms of like being a dad, but totally changed my life for everything. And what that particular friend said to it was my spouse friend, by the way. So she said, why are you all so stupid? Like, there is no best milk. The only milk that is good for him is the one that he drinks, and everything clicks right after that. I mean, not immediately, but after that, everything clicks. It's like my spouse was like trying to manufacture the milk, right? But in the end, it was tiring. The process was very daunting, and I tried to go and buy all the milk formula brand that I see on television, right? Because that's the only thing that we know, right? Like you know, the brand appeal that works that way. But I didn't realize one thing is that the only thing that matters to a person is what that person consumes.
Yeah.
Now that has been repeatedly over like at the top of my mind for many years. The only best milk for any baby is the milk that he drinks, not breast milk,
Yeah.
not the most expensive formula milk, and not anything else. It doesn't matter if he doesn't drink, right? Does that make sense? So the only best decision for anyone is the one that you decide on. Now let's bring this concept further to the one that you said just now, Mark. Like, I mean, how are we going to decipher all the information that is going to come to us, right? You know what? The only information that is going to be useful for you. So everybody, now take a look at the top right corner of your screen right now if you're watching this. Master implementer. Like the only thing that really matters, the information that matters to us, are the one that we go ahead and implement it. That is so key, right? The moment that you're able to like fit this into your DNA system, the life becomes like a lot more easier.
Wow, I love it, man. So thanks for sharing the story. It's pretty interesting, right? So I'm not married yet, but I think there's something good to know as well. But I think that's very true. Like a lot of people, I think right now, whether is it like marketing, everything, there are a lot of FOMO, right? So they always like to collect online program, online videos, and notes and everything. But I think what you said is damn true, man. It's all about like what information can you most best implement, man, instead of trying to get like all the information, might as well trying to find the stuff they can actually use to implement and all, man. So I think I love it. So thanks for sharing that, Ulysses. All right. So can we move on, right? Move on to the next topic, right? I want to find out a bit more. So so right now you are a coach in the whole NLP space, right? For those who don't know,
Right.
neuro linguistic programming. Is it okay just for my audience? Can you share a quick introduction about what NLP is about? Right, and maybe one or two tips you feel that like anyone, regardless of like industry space, that could use for themselves, right, when it comes to NLP.
Right. The thing about NLP is that excuse me, you know what is the thing that I can't do anything about NLP. I can change the way it's being delivered. I can change like the structure. I can change the content in a way or another. But the thing about NLP is that I can't change like the NLP, these three words, like neuro linguistics programming.
Yep.
Now the biggest roadblock for anyone who are potentially interested in learning NLP, 99% of the people that I speak to that they never step into it is the main reason because neuro linguistic programming.
Yeah.
It sounds so big, right? It's like wow, it's just like I need to be a PhD grad to be able to learn that thing, right? Not true. Now forget about like these three terms. Anyone who is potentially interested to know this, like forget about neuro linguistics programming, forget about NLP. It's all about human behaviors. These are things that you and me, we are all of us are already doing every day. Yeah, most of it. I guarantee you that if you attend an NLP class, specific NLP classes that goes right into the tactical aspects, right? You will actually find there's so much things that you are already doing. Now, then the next question comes in that, and why do people learn NLP? Now, that's a huge difference between you are doing it and you know that you are doing it. There's two big difference over there. It's just like I remember that every time I speak to my spouse, right, then we always get into this small little argument, right, just like any other couples, right, and I'll always like ask this question, and maybe, I mean, I don't know, guys, ladies, try it out, but if it backfire, don't look for me, right? There's no guarantee or warranty on this statement. Let me try asking this, like, do you remember the like why you fell in love with me in the first place? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can be in love, but you may not know that you are in love.
At that,
right?
The state, right then.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like so many things about NLP. There's like you may be doing it. For example, some of the things that if I'm going to bring it to your conscious attention right now, things like you always will try to satisfy another person's desire if you want to build rapport with the person. That's like common sense, right?
Yeah.
right? But you see, common sense doesn't exist because what is common to a person that is not common to another person, right? You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as common sense, right? Common sense is only like common to ourselves and unique to ourselves. So what I'm trying to drive at is that if we are able to bring as many of these useful, awesome, and good stuff that you are already doing in your life, see, all of us have a ton of achievement in our life.
Yep.
Studies, relationships, work, career, business. We have a ton of successes. Like anyone who is like, who has lived at least like, I don't know, 20, 25 years of life at least, has like a ton of respectable achievement in his or her life already. What we aim to do is to really like let you know exactly what you have been doing right all this while.
Yep.
Then bring it to your conscious level, and then you will be there that, so that's what I did. Okay. So that you can actually repeatedly do it. It's just like, again, you go back to investing. If at $1, if I buy a stock and the stock tomorrow returns me $2, right? You know, what am I going to do with this $2? It doesn't make sense if we take the $2 and go and look for other stocks, right? We will power that back into that same stock, right? Again, I hope that I'm a good student in the future if I'm interested in investing. You know what I'm saying? So we will continually do the things that are already doing a lot of good things for us in our life. Right.
Yeah,
So
I love it, man. Yeah.
yeah. So anyone who is interested in NLP, please don't be like taken aback with that the big bombastic term. It's all about human behaviors. It's very normal. It's all about like influencing like our mind, because our mind actually affects actions and, you know, the implementation, which gets us the result. And it's all about like talking to this thing over here. So usually there are two types of people who comes to the class for NLP. One is that they want to strengthen this thing that is up here in their mind. Like, so a very big word that we all know is personal development, right?
Yep.
So personal development is a very big word. So some people are looking for motivation, some people are looking for satisfaction, some people are looking for fulfillment, some people are looking for more self-awareness. So it's a huge thing about like personal development. Some people want to feel more energetic, right? Some people want to like make use of their life. So all these things like fall very largely with like you know, how we communicate with ourselves. The second type of people who comes to our NLP classes are people who actually who wants to actually be able to effectively influence another person. Right. So it can be in terms of negotiation, it can be in terms of like sales, it can be marketing, it can be online marketing, it can be offline in-person sales. So two very broad categories, but the key thing over here is that to take what we humans across the world generally as a human species, what we already are doing very well across like the spectrum, and bring it to our conscious mind. Like I know you're a huge fan of Tony Robbins, Mark. That's something that I realized like last year when I started to see you are popping a lot of things coming from it, and I know that you are one of the top affiliates, all right, for his KBB program as well, and I think that was a huge achievement for you. So that one of the things that Tony Robbins like always stress about is that don't reinvent the wheel, we always model, right? So there are specific traits that are already proven in the world where human behaviors are concerned. So what we want to do is just to take that and model and you know, get results for ourselves.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a very simple energy, which is just basically like NLP, like as much as it sounds like complicated and whatnot, right? It's just basically getting you to be aware of what are the common like characteristics, the common actions, and bring you the awareness of like actions that can help you, whether it's in your own mind or influencing other people, right? And then you can use it over and over again, right? So I love that analogy. Yeah. So I think next part of the question, right? So actually currently, like Ulysses, like over your like I think your years of experience, right? How many students in total have you like coached, taught over, like, and how many countries, man? Just a quick statistic you could share.
I would say if we're going to combine everything from all different modalities, online live seminar, online live coaching, home study programs, I think we easily have crossed like almost like 3,000 over people just in the past like 2.5, 3 years. One of our latest online program, the NLP Mind Mastery program, that is 100% self-paced home study program. That itself gave us like, I'm going to give you an estimate number as of now. Over the past 5 months,
Okay.
I believe we are reaching about a 900 or almost 1,000 people at this month of students enrollment. And the reason why I can be so sure about 1,000 is because we tabulated in the first 3 months. We launched this barely in December last year. So from December, and we tabulated the first quarter, which is somewhere in the mid of March this year for us. And during that point of time, we have about 680 something students who have enrolled just in the first 3 months. That came from 22 different countries, because we were just like bombing our advertising everywhere. So I would say when we pull that in, that is like a huge like sway away like to on the scale. But when we pull that in, just to give some perspective, like 1,000 of them came in over the past like 5 months or so through this one program alone. But we combine every other modality, live, online, that's about 3,000 each.
About 3,000. All right. So one comment. So I know like there's a mix of like live coaching, the like self-paced online program and all.
Yeah.
But I think one question that is always burning, I always like to ask like trainers, because pay for yourself with international experience, right? Like so I'm sure you know, right? So there are always some students who actually achieve way faster, way bigger results, right? Then some, right? There's some who actually attend the same exact program, attend the same exact workshop, but might not be at the area that they want, but a bit slower. They might be a bit stuck at their current situation. So in your opinion, right, in terms of your personal observations, right, what do you think are the difference in traits and characteristics, right, of students who actually achieve like the way faster, way better success, right, than those who might not necessarily be at the area if they will want right now?
There's like there's a short answer. There's a long answer. I mean, not too long. The short answer for everyone. I mean, if you really need to satisfy the desire to get this answer right now, right? How to actually like, what is the best trait that you've seen among students that actually put into action and get results for themselves? The short answer is that there is no cookie cutter approach. There is no cookie cutter approach. Tactics can remain the same. For example, how to ride a bicycle, it will always remain the same. But the desire of riding the bicycle will always be different. The mood of us wanting to ride the bicycle will always be different. And the environment that we ride the bicycle will always be different. Like let me just throw out this question. Where do you remember, like for everybody who's watching this, like do you remember the first time where do you first learn how to ride a bicycle? I mean, for me, it was behind a back lane behind my auntie house. That was like barely 4 or 5 years old. My dad bought me a bicycle, a back lane. And the reason why it was a back lane is because so that when I fell, nobody can hear me cry, right? So that's the reason why my dad brought me over to the back lane. So that was my environment. So somebody's environment could be very different. So why am I even talking about this? It's like there's a self-awareness. If I'm going to bring this back from the beginning of this entire conversation, it's going to be a huge part of anyone getting like the specific result. Now, there is no comparison of result. It's just like, like we know, right, that we are always racing our own race. You know what I'm saying? It's good to benchmark. It's good to like know what other people are doing, but we are always racing our own race. I remember that when I first started to attend like seminars, right? Like we went to seminar, we meet people, we get excited with all the music, and we started to take notes. And then I realized that I wasn't getting a lot of ROI from live seminar. And live seminars aren't exactly the cheapest thing on this planet, right? I'm sure you know, and it costs like a lot of money, time, effort, airfare to attend a live seminar. And after attending a few, I realized that I didn't get too much of a value out of it. And I was like cursing and swearing at myself, like, why am I so dumb, right? Like, why am I so stupid? How come I can't be like people who I see that attend the same seminar, apply, and then went on so well, but I'm still kind of like stuck at my stage.
Yeah.
And all this didn't click until I realized that a live seminar wasn't really the best environment for me to learn. Because when I was at a live seminar, I was so engrossed with being alone. I like to sit at the corner. I need to, like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like I need to force myself to go into groups, and I need to put on that artificial like, hey everybody, yeah, I'm so excited, yeah, I was doing great. So like 95% of my energy was like put onto that, right? So I got 5% of like consumption of information. So, and that's the reason. But things changes the moment I realized that, and I started to go like real hardcore on like online programs. So I put me in my nice little environment, no distraction. I can sit there, I can do that, I can like repeat it, and I can pause it, I can take down notes, I can strategize it, and then I can like watch one online program that is barely like 5 hours for 3 months. And the reason is because like every 30 minutes I pause and I went and implement it for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then I come back and I can re-pause again and watch it again and for the next like 1 hour, and I go and implement for the next 1 month. So I can, you know what I'm saying? But that's the environment that I thrive in. But ladies and gentlemen, my point is when you know your environment that you're able to thrive in, this question that Mark has just raised, you're going to get a perfect answer. It's a perfect answer for you, being self-aware that like where do you really thrive in? Yeah.
Wow, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for the answer. I think like environment is definitely very important. Like, and yeah, I think it boils down back to self-awareness, right? When it comes to it, yes, we talk about implementation and everything, but definitely can plan 1,000 things, right? But then how do you know what best to implement, right? Then it boils down all the way back to self-awareness, man. So thanks for sharing that. All right, so yeah.
I know, Mark, we are cutting short of time, but there's really one more thing that I believe is going to be tremendous value to everyone watching this. There was a seminar that I was attending like a couple of years ago. So during the seminar, the facilitator actually like stand in the middle of the room and stretch out his arms, right? Okay, I can't really see from, but just imagine that the arms being stretched out from the left to right direction, right? So he got all the class to actually get example in front of him standing up. That's about like 40 of us, 40-ish of us total in the class. So the facilitator said, how many of you feels that when you actually process information and to make a decision, you need the big picture thing, and you can't like stand all the tiny specific details. So if you fall into the category, please stand onto my left. And then there's going to be like, you know what, majority of the people who goes on to the left. And I was there like, am I the only weird one? Like luckily there's another like 3 person. There's another 3 person who's as weirdo as me. The next question came. So how many of you among you 4 who prefer to look at the big picture as well, but you absolutely need to know the specific details. And without any doubt, I went to the other side of where his hand is raised. So just imagine that there's like 38 people on one side, there's 4 people on the other side. So the 38 people are people who feels that they can't be bothered with the specific details. They prefer to look at the big picture and move on with things, right? And there are 4 weirdos in the room that feels that they need to have the specific detail. They absolutely need to know it before they decide on anything. So I remember there was this interesting incident where one of the gentlemen from the group of 38, he just shouted, that, oh, if I'm a boss, I'm going to hire all 4 of you.
Okay.
Right? Like it's like a boss, like a common conception, right? Like perception, excuse me, that a boss look at big picture. We leave the specific details to people who likes to look at specific details. Right? And it was so interesting. Like one of us actually from this group of 4, like one of us just shouted back randomly. This story was like so stuck in my mind. All this is so classic. If we are going to choose to work for a boss, we will not choose any one of you on the other side.
Wow, okay.
It's like this is a constant conflict, right? Now this is like classic story, but now if we're going to bring back this story to our reality, the life that we lead on, how many people that we know who are best of friends, who became like business partners in a way or another, who one of them who are the like so-called the outgoing, the big picture guy, the other one is actually the more so-called specific, the detail oriented, the operational one. But along the way, usually this doesn't work out that well. Usually this is a perfect situation where the business partnership is concerned. Of course, I'm not a business guru, and I've never ran like multiple businesses. This is purely from a human behavioral perspective.
Yeah.
But I've met enough examples to know that usually the person who are doing all the specific operational day-to-day thing, they eventually will get like burnt, get burnt because they feel that they are doing the things every day. All right. So again, back to self-awareness, where like I can't stress on this enough. Like now, everybody who is watching this, you've been following Mark, and you know that Mark is all about implementation. And before we implement things, right, it's like, you know, the pushing part is one thing, the desire is one thing, the motivation is one thing, but all this becomes so much easier and will be magnified when we know exactly like who we are and how we are able to excel and constantly put ourselves in that kind of environment. So that's a quick one. I hope it brings value to everybody that is watching this right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that's a damn like great story. Like people like clash. Like obviously, like one focus on details, one doesn't. There's always gonna be a clash going on, right? Like I think that's a great story to really illustrate the point, right? And so yeah, this is to end off with, right, Ulysses. Like yeah, unfortunately the time we are running short of time. Like any like last message you'd like to share with my audience, and where can they find you? They'll find out more about what you do in NLP and all, like, and where can they find you with, man?
If you want to know more about NLP, my website URL, the simplest place for me to actually point you over to is ulysseswang.com. That's the simplest way. And I also have an online program, the NLP Mind Mastery Method program, which is going to be very convenient for anyone who wants to really deep dive into like human behavioral aspects, whether is it going to be used for personal development, whether is it going to be used for communication, influence, relationship, and but usually most of the examples I quoted are going to be on a workplace, career, and business perspective. So if any one of you is going to be potentially interested, I believe Mark will be able to drop a link below this video somewhere above, below, left or to right, for you to actually check it out. And that is going to be one of the things that I'm able to serve you on, where the neuro-linguistics programming perspective is concerned. And of course, I welcome anyone to actually be able to attend my live NLP certification program, which takes place a couple of times each in Singapore and Malaysia most of the time. So do hop by, and it's going to be great fun. It's going to be a lot of self-awareness, discovery, and it's going to be a lot of technical things that we do in the 4 days to 5 days. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Like for myself, I took out an NLP course like years back, right? But right now, right, I realized that I only touched on like even a fraction of how powerful NLP can be, man. That itself really has changed my life, transform it, make it so much better. And that's just like a fraction, man, of implementing what I learned, man. So thanks for sharing that. And yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Absolutely, yeah. So with that, right, thank you for the coming on interview, Ulysses, right? I look forward to seeing you again, to see you speak and share again, right? And with that, we end our interview, right? And thanks, and see you soon.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody watching this, and thank you, Mark, for having me. And I wish everybody success in everything that you'll be doing.